You guys for joining me. My name is Grandwolf, and this is The Hobbit, and this is Chapter 3, Hes Short Rest. They did not sing or tell stories that day, even though the weather improved, nor the next day, nor the day after. They had begun to feel danger was not far away on either side. They camped under the stars, and their horses had more to eat than they had, for there was plenty of grass, but there was not much in their bags, even with what they had got from the trolls. One morning they forded a river at a wide, shallow place full of the noise of stones and foam. The far bank was steep and slippery. When they got to the top of it, leading their ponies, they saw the great mountains had marched down very near to them. Already they seemed only a day's easy journey from the east, from the feet of the nearest. Dark and drear it looked, though there were patches of sunlight on its brown sides, and behind its shoulders the tips of snow peaks gathering. "Is that the mountain?" asked Bilbo in a solemn voice, looking at it with round eyes. He had never seen a thing that looked so big before. "Of course not," said Balin. "That's the only beginning of the Misty Mountains, and we have to get through, or over, or under those somehow, before we can come to the wilder land beyond. It is a deal of a way even from the other side of them to the lonely mountain in the east, where Smaug lies on our treasures." "Oh," said Bilbo, and just at that moment he felt more tired than he remembered feeling. He was thinking once more of his comfortable chair before the fire in his favorite sitting room in his hobbit hole, and of the kettle singing, not for the last time. Now Gandalf led the way. "We must not miss the road, or we shall be done for," he said. "We need food, for one thing, and rest in reasonable safety. Also, it is very necessary to tackle the Misty Mountains by the proper path, or else you will get lost in them. But you'd have to come back and start at the beginning, if you ever get back at all." He asked him where he was making for. He answered, "You are to come to the very edge of the wild, as some of you may know. Hidden somewhere ahead of us, in a fair valley of Rivendell, where Elrond lives, is the last homely house. I sent a message by my friends, and we are expected." That sounded nice and comforting, but they had not got there yet, and it was not so easy as it sounds to find the last homely house west of the mountains. There seemed to be no trees, no valley, no hills to break the ground in front of them. Only one vast slope going slowly upward to meet the feet of the nearest mountain. A wide land the color of heather and crumbling rock, with patches and slashes of grass green and moss showing where the water might be. Morning passed, afternoon came, but in all the silent waste there was no sign of any dwelling. They were growing anxious, for now they saw that the house might be hidden somewhere between them and the mountains. They came on unexpected valleys, narrow with deep sides that opened suddenly at their feet, and they looked down, surprised to see trees below them and running water at the bottom. There were gullies that they could almost leap over, but very deep with waterfalls in them. There were dark ravines that no one could either jump nor climb into. There were bogs, some of them green, pleasant places to look at, with flowers growing bright and tall, but a pony that walked with a pack on his back would never come out again. It was indeed much wider land from the ford to the mountains than you would have ever guessed. Bilbo was astonished. The only path was marked with white stones, some of which were small, and others were half covered with moss or heather. Although it was a very slow business following a track, even guided by Gandalf, who seemed to know his way about pretty well. His head and beard wagged this way and that as he looked for stones, and they followed his head, but they seemed no nearer to the end of the search when the day began to fail. Tea time had long gone by, and it seemed supper time would soon do the same. There were moths fluttering about, and the light became very dim, for the moon had not risen. Bilbo's pony began to stumble over roots and stones. They came to the edge of a steep fall in the ground so suddenly that Gandalf's horse nearly slipped down the slope. Here it is at last, he called, and others gathered around him that looked over the edge. They saw a valley far below. They could hear the voice of hurrying water in a rocky bed at the bottom, the scent of trees in the air, and there was light on the valley across the water. Bilbo never forgot the way they slithered and slipped in the dust down the steep zigzag path into the secret valley of Rivendell. The air grew warmer as they got lower, and the smell of the pine trees made them drowsy. So every now and again he nodded and nearly fell off, or he bumped his nose on the pony's neck. Their spirits rose as they went down. The trees changed to beech and oak, and there was a comfortable feeling in twilight. The last green had almost faded out of the grass when they came at length to an opening lay not far above the banks of the stream. It smells like elves, thought Bilbo, and he looked at the stars. They were burning bright and blue. Just then came a burst of song like laughter in the trees.
Oh, what are you doing? And where are you going? Your pony's issuing, the river is flowing. Oh, tra-la-la-la-lee, here down in the valley. Oh, what are you seeking? And where are you making? The faggots are reeking, the bannocks are baking. Oh, tra-la-la-la-lee, the valley is jolly, ha-ha. Oh, where are you going? With beards all a-wagging. No knowing what brings us to Baggins and Bullin and dwelling down into the valley in June, ha-ha. Oh, will you be staying or will you be flying? Your ponies are straying, the daylight is dying. To fly would be folly, to stay would be jolly. And listen and hop till the end of the dark to our tune, ha-ha.
So they laughed and sang in the trees, and pretty fair nonsense, that I dare say you think. Not that they would care, they only would laugh all the more if you told them. They were elves, of course. Soon Bilbo caught glimpses of them as the darkness deepened. He loved elves, though he seldom met them, but he was a little frightened of them too. Dwarves don't get on well with them. Even decent enough dwarves like Thorin and his friends think they're foolish, which is a very foolish thing to think, or get annoyed with them, for some elves tease them and laugh at them, and most of all at their beards. Well, well, said a voice, just look, Bilbo the Hobbit on a pony. My dear, isn't that delicious? Most astonishing and wonderful. And then off they went with another song as ridiculous as the one I have written in full. At last, a tall young fellow came out of the trees and bowed to Gandalf and to Thorin. Welcome to the valley. Thank you, said Thorin a bit gruffly, but Gandalf was already off his horse among the elves, talking merrily with them. You are a little out of your way, said the elf. That is, if you are making for the only path across the water and to the house beyond, we will set you right, but you had best get on foot until you are over the bridge. Are you going to stay a bit and sing with us, or will you go straight on? Supper is preparing over there. I can smell the wood fires for the cooking. Tired as Bilbo was, Bilbo would like to stay a while. Elvish singing is not a thing to miss, and June under the stars, not if you care for such things. Also, he would like to have a few private words with these people that seemed to know his name and all about him, though he had never met them before. He thought their opinion of his adventure might be interesting. Elves know a lot and are wondrous folk for the news, and know what is going on amongst the peoples of the land, as quick as the water flows or quicker. But the dwarves were all for supper as soon as possible, just then, and would not stay. They all went, leading their ponies, till they were brought to a good path, and so, at last, to the very brink of the river, it was flowing fast and noisily, as noisy streams do of a summer evening. When sun has been all day and on the snow far above it, there was only a narrow bridge of stone without a parapet, and narrow as a pony could well walk on. And over that they had to go, slow and careful, one by one, each leading his pony by the bridle. The elves had brought bright lanterns to the shore, and they sang a merry song as the party went across. Don't dip your deer in the phone farther, they cried to cried to Thorin, who was bent almost on his hands and knees. It is long enough without watering it. Mind Bilbo doesn't eat all the cakes, they call him. He is too fat to get through the keyholes yet. Hush, hush, good people, and good night, said Gandalf and came at last. Valleys have ears, and some elves have over-merry tongues. Good night. And so at last they all came to the last homely house and found its doors flung wide. That's good stuff in point for right now. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.